Hello everybody and welcome back to RainBro Crafts. My name is Colton and today I will be making for you the second soap in our Heated Rivalry February collection, and that is the soap inspired by Ilya Rozanov, the other main character in the Heated Rivalry TV show series if you haven't watched it. It is a romantic TV show about a pair of hockey players. I haven't finished the whole season, so I don't know much more than that, but that is a really very high level overview of this show. And this collection is inspired by that because it is our February Valentine's collection, and I just thought it was very appropriate. So I've blitzed up our soap batter, and then I'm going to pour in my fragrance oil. This is bay leaf and tobacco from Bramble Berry, which we have had for a while, and we have never used it, and I am obsessed with it. It has bay leaf, some fir needle, some cedarwood, a little citrus, and then that tobacco flavor. Now, when you hear tobacco, sometimes people's minds go to like a cigarette, which I definitely can understand that, but that is not this scent. This is very planty, very light, very green. It is a lovely, lovely scent that we will definitely use in the future. It also behaved spectacularly in soap. It didn't accelerate, it didn't rise, it didn't really discolor either. So just all around a really good, more like woodsy scent. So if that's something that you're needing or wanting, definitely check this one out. I think they said on their website it's one of their like most popular fragrances, like top 10 fragrances or something. Don't necessarily quote me on that, but I'm surprised we hadn't used it before. It's kind of similar to the Bramble Berry scent that we used from them, which is their namesake scent, and it is so delicious, and we had never used it. So for this design, I am doing a 3-color design. I have basically 1 loaf's amount of soap batter in that red pour container there with my immersion blender stick in it. I then have the 2 remaining loaves kind of separated between the pour container and the Cambro. I am going to blend up that blue layer first because what I'm going to do is a design technique that I've seen on a couple other soap makers' Instagrams where the bottom layer is a solid color and then you do an in the pot swirl with 2 other colors on the top, and so basically you have 2 even layers, one that's a solid color and one that's a in the pot swirl of the 2 other colors in the soap design. So actually it's more like a majority of the soap batter is in that pour container and then the remainder is divided equally between the 2 other containers. I did do a little bit of an oopsie when I was making this soap. I meant for the green color to be in the bottom layer, not the blue. But I was just kind of feeling myself. I probably had on some music or something, maybe a true crime podcast, and I got distracted. And so, like I said, this should have been green, not blue. I do think the design is still really pretty, but I was kind of, initially at least, inspired by like a forest, like an evergreen forest, especially with this fragrance oil, having it be a little woodsy and like citrusy and sharp. I thought that design worked well. This is more like a oceany design now, which also works well. So like I said, I blended up that blue first. I want that to set up quite a bit because I want to do some pretty dramatic spoon swoops on there and have them hold when I pour the uncolored soap batter and that green soap batter over it. So this set up for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, so quite a long time. I was off camera agitating, so basically just stirring the uncolored soap batter and the green soap batter just a little bit every once in a while to keep them nice and loose. Like I said, this fragrance oil did not accelerate. It didn't like delay setting up the soap batter either, which is good. But I just didn't want to risk it because I wanted a flat top, and you'll see why I wanted a flat top, not like a textured top here in a moment. So I did, like I said, a pretty drastic spoon swoop here. I want that to set up as well because I'm going to pour over the green and the uncolored soap base, and I don't want it to smush anything down. And if you don't have that setup level quite enough, you can have that happen. Another thing with a drop swirl, or an in the pot swirl, pardon me, is that you don't want it to get muddy, and sometimes if you overwork it, it can get muddy. And so I'm not going to stir the soap in that Cambro either. I want it to be as separated as possible. I then am going to go back in, now that that blue soap is set up even a little bit more, and pull up some of those edges just a little bit higher to try and get as much contrast between the blue layer and the drop or in the pot swirl layer as well. It's pretty set up now, so I probably could have just poured this over, but just to give myself some added insurance, I am going to pour that soap batter in the Cambro over my scraper, just so it doesn't push down into that blue layer more than what I manually made happen. And I'm going to go pretty slow. The soap batter is not making me need to pour more quickly either. You can see it's pretty flowy still. And this is pretty far into the soap making process. I haven't cut out a whole lot in editing this video, and we're at like 6 minutes 50, and it's still pretty liquidy. So this is probably at about 10 minutes after I added the fragrance. And I get that pourability from not mixing in the colors all at once. Yes, I poured them into the container, but I didn't mix them all throughout, and that adds a lot of extra work time. Sometimes micas or colorants, especially if they have titanium dioxide, will cause your soap batter to accelerate, which is the nemesis. It is the thing you do not want to have happen when you are doing a swirly design. You want it to stay pretty fluid for a long time. Now for the extra fun part, I am going to do a mosaic design on the top of this soap. I also saw someone do this on Instagram. I think it was Sleepy Hollow Soap, if I'm remembering correctly. They're over on the East Coast. And I did a test batch of this for an essential oil soap that we've been formulating to add to our essentials collection, just as a test proof of concept, and I loved it, so I'm doing it here again. I went into my stash of end cuts of soap, and I picked out some colors that were kind of complementary of the soap batter that I'm doing, and also the fragrance that I did. So we have some Lumberjack, which is our Patchouli Cedarwood Blood Orange soap. We have some of our Oat Bar, which is what I'm setting on there now. That's just unscented oatmeal soap. That yellowy colored one is our Zesty Bar, so it's citrusy, a custom citrus blend. We then have that green and white one is our Morning Wood soap. That is Backwood Hike from Bramble Berry. If you're on their website, it's a nice woodsy scent. And then that kind of brownish tan one is our Vinyl Vibes soap, which is a collaboration with Ronald Records, and it's inspired by like a cozy basement hangout. So dragon's blood, a little bit of frankincense and myrrh, and some like smoky notes as well. That one's one of our best-selling candles, and it is a delicious soap as well. I will put a video of us making that up in one of the corners here. If you haven't watched that, you can definitely check that one out. That's one of my favorite soaps we make. Lumberjack is my all-time favorite. Before I started making this specific batch of soap, I went in after I collected all my scraps there, and I cut them into random-ish triangles, and then I laid them all out in the empty slab just to make sure I had enough of these in case the soap batter was not behaving. So I wasn't like cutting things as I was making the soap. Ideally, you'll see here in a minute, I did not cut up quite enough triangles, so I did have to do a few little live cuts, but that is okay. Generally speaking, I didn't have to do a whole lot. Some things to watch out for, that's what I'm doing here, is I didn't want the same soap triangles next to each other or touching, which as I'm watching this, I see 2 of the same scent touching each other in the middle, 2 of the morning wood triangles, but that's okay. That was my main goal. I also was trying to have it be that when we cut these into bars, you had a little bit of each triangle and not just like a big hunk of the triangle. I did a pretty good job of this. I think in the future, I might make these triangles just a little bit smaller to give me a little more opportunity to have more on each bar of soap, but this is really like the first like big application of this that I did, so it's not the end of the world. It still turned out really, really cool, and I definitely will do it again. These are really thin, like I said, end cuts of our soap, so when I cut the loaves in, or the slabs into loaves, we have a little tiny bit left. This is maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch thick, if that. And we don't really do a whole lot with them. We have started using them in some of our popular soaps we carry all the time. So Lavender Haze, we use these in like cubes in the bottom layer and also in the Vinyl Vibes. So the one that I'm using on the top here, the brownish one, we use those in the bottom too. But we have so many because this is like our most common soap scrap outside of the end cuts when we cut our loaves into bars. We need to do another shipment to Eco Soap Bank, which is where all of the scraps that we can't reuse in a confetti soap go, and they're repurposed into bars of soap and then sent to developing countries. It helps provide jobs. It helps provide soap as well to schools and things like that in those areas. So it's a really good foundation that we've been supporting almost since we started making soap for like 5-ish years now. Definitely a really cool project. We actually sat in on a seminar with the founder of the organization last year when we went to Reno for our SoapMaking conference. That was really interesting to hear how they kind of started that. It started, if I'm remembering correctly, as a business that recycled like bar soap from hotels into soap that then went to those schools in developing countries, and now they've shifted a little bit because a lot of hotels use liquid soap now. So I've been flapping my gums. I finished my top mosaic design and then I wrapped my chopstick in a towel and I was just cleaning up some of the edges of soap that kind of went over on the triangles to make them nice and clean. I then spritzed it with some rubbing alcohol and tucked it away for 24 hours to let it set up. I think this might have been for maybe a little more than 24 hours, just because when it's really cold, it slows down the curing process, at least in our experience, and I wanted this to be pretty firm before I cut it up. We'll take it out of its slab mold and its silicone liner, and then it is time to split it up. Like I said, I really like the mosaic design of this, and I can't wait to kind of do it on some more colorful loaves. It would be really cool to do like a really dark bar and then like super colorful kind of mosaic on the top and like chunks, colorful chunks in the middle or something like that, like a neon pink and like a dark like gray, dark black or something like that. That might be cool. Then it is time to break out Dorothy and see if our swirly in the pot design worked. I am being a little cautious because the soap on the top, the embed, is harder than the bar soap, so I don't want it to break any wires, and that is exactly what I was wanting, minus the fact that I mixed up the blue and the green initially. I do think it still looks really, really cool. Kind of looks foresty, kind of like a lake maybe. Which the final soap in this collection is the cottage, which is also very fitting. So maybe like the lake around the cottage or something like that. But that is it. That is our Ilya Rozanov soap, which will be for sale starting February 1st online and in person, so check out our website, rainbrocrafts.com, for that. My question for you all is, what is your favorite Valentine's candy? Mine probably would have to be like a Reese's peanut butter heart or something, peanut butter and chocolatey. That's my favorite combination. Or the Scandinavian swimmers from Trader Joe's, but the like Valentine shaped ones, because this normal Scandinavian swimmers are one of my favorites. If you want to get soaps or candles or bath bombs each and every month sent to you, check out our website, rainbrocrafts.com, to become a subscriber. They get those sent to them each and every month as a thank you for their support of us. We really, truly appreciate everyone that's shown up on the screen here. They are our list of lovely subscribers. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below your favorite Valentine candy, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell icon. Thanks. Bye.